Hey guys, I wanted to bring you another video on tomorrow's draft. I am excited and also nervous for the Niners. A couple of reasons, because the Niners have been in this position where they could have gone quarterback if you look back on the history. But I know at hindsight, they wanted to build defense. This was the year where Mitchell Trubisky got drafted, and then also Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Now, if you think about it, most of the heat went to the Bears because they're the one that made that trade and then also drafted Mitchell Trubisky. But if you think about it, the Niners had the third pick, which in hindsight, we have the third pick again tomorrow. And I'm just trying to give a perspective why I think we're starting here a little bit of Trey Lance out there too, is because they could. I mean, again, this is why I still remember that draft. Like, all right, I know John Lynch is a defensive guy. You have Shanahan is an offensive guy, and that year they were trying to focus on the defense. And so this is where, like I said, I think they worked really well together. Because obviously Kyle Shanahan didn't blame him for drafting so-and-so, Solomon Thomas, or you made this pick, or you didn't do well on this pick. So this is where I think Lynch is trying to say, hey, you're the offensive guru, you're the offensive guy that knows what you're looking for to be able to run your offense. So I'm just going to talk about quarterbacks, some draft potential stories I'm looking at that could be very interesting. So, obviously, we know Trevor Lawrence is going to be first. Zach Wilson, we already heard, is probably going to be second. Which, just giving, usually in the past, I heard from Dan Patrick or Colin Cowherd that usually in the first round, they usually have probably about 60% like successful rate for quarterbacks, and then the other 40% are busts. So if you're going based on those 5 quarterbacks, that means 2 should be busts. And so I'll share with that. So the Zach Wilson 2. Now the Niners are number 3, and this is where, like I said, I think that's where the draft starts. Now, when the Niners made that trade, I think this is where people were like, oh, it's probably going to be Mac Jones. Or I've seen some mock drafts that, oh, it could be Trey Lance. Or I've even seen Justin Fields. So they, even like the odds, which I like to look at just to see if there's any inside tips or information. So early on, they had Mac Jones on there. Then once their pro days, Justin Fields started becoming the favorite. Then when it was Trey Lance's turn for his pro days, then it was Trey Lance being favorite. So, and now the day before the draft, looks like Mac Jones is favorite. Now, I got another interesting thing, and even being a fan, this regime, front office, usually don't leak out information, if you think about it. Because I've heard, and I've thought about it too, because I heard that from sports radio, like, this is really odd for them to leak out this information if it could potentially be them, because it could be a smoke screen. So my take is like, okay, we didn't know about the Niners potentially wanting to trade up the number 3. There was no rumors about that. So that was a big shock when I saw that alert. At the time, everybody was like, oh, they're going to go get Kirk Cousins. But it was actually Jimmy G. So what was another? And so none of us knew that we were going to get Jimmy G. Was on the radar. What else was? There's been some other incidents. Oh, Trent Williams. That's another one. Draft day. We did not know we're going to get Trent Williams. And then it makes sense because Joe Staley retires. So I got a feeling, and like I said, hopefully I'm right because I feel like you mortgaged so much draft picks. You did 3 first rounders and 1 third rounder, so 4 picks essentially, and it's going to be hard to evaluate. If it's almost like for me, it's Super Bowl or bust because yes, you almost went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G. Yes, availability is the most important thing because again, the losing records has come when Jimmy G has not been healthy or the team healthy. So this team has that Super Bowl potential. Just like I remember with Jim Harbaugh, they had that Super Bowl potential, and after that letdown with the Ravens, it started going downhill. So that's my concern. It's like, all right, now you're looking for an upgrade. That's fine, but you gotta get this pick right. And this is pretty much could affect the team for the next 5 to 10 years potentially, based on this trade. So everyone's saying the most upside is going to be Trey Lance. It's crazy. And I think the Niners are even impressed when they saw his pro days. So just from research and hearing, like I said, I haven't seen any of his work because he came out of nowhere. But some things that is working for him, because just like Kylie Murray, was that because of his height, but because Russell Wilson and then had some success, and then some other quarterbacks, or Russell Wilson mainly, paved that way for Kylie Murray. So that's what makes me wonder if it's Trey Lance, because now we're hearing, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like debating about it. And that's the thing. I don't think they could keep Jimmy Garoppolo at this point. I mean, they can, but what happens if you have him as quarterback and you have Trey Lance as a quarterback learning and being tutored by Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, so now you got no market for sure for him. So yeah, I think Jimmy G is going to be traded probably within a week or before the first week. I don't see him back with the team. So that's where, like I said, I think, yeah, because they're going to trade him. Yeah, this, like I said, it's a hard one. I could see Mac Jones being all right. He could be ready. He could be good for the first couple of years for the Niners and get us probably the playoffs. But the problem is, I don't think Super Bowl like that. But they could build around him pretty cheap. Now, if you're looking long term picture, that has the most upside, Trey Lance. Because, like I said, I've seen Justin Fields play. Yeah, he looks impressive, but that's college, and depending on his talents around him. So, but it's much more like I said. You had Carson Wentz. You also had Josh Allen from small schools, and they did pretty well. So I think because there's so much potential there, and supposedly he's very smart and could pick up a playbook, and it sounds like very coachable too. Because from what I've heard with his meetup with Kyle Shanahan and Lynch, was that I don't care if you hurt my feelings or anything. I just want to be critiqued and be able to improve, and that's where I think that's something. If anything, I would be more concerned because if he's mobile quarterbacks can get hurt. But as long as because there is an argument. Kyle Shanahan had the most success with Matt Schaub, Matt Ryan, those pocket passers. But he did also have some success. Oh, and Kirk Cousins. That's why there was rumors of getting those two tied back together. But you also have where RG3 had a career year too before he got hurt. So I feel like he could make any quarterback great. Kyle Shanahan, because he even made our second and third string serviceable. And we were very competitive still. So I think, yeah, as long as you get this quarterback right, it makes sense. So I feel like if Kyle Shanahan thinks he can make any quarterback great, I think, but has the most potential and upside, I would go with Trey Lance then. So, so I'm hoping that is the pick. I know it could be risky because of the small school, and he did opt out and stuff like that. But if all these scouts and everybody in the media is saying he has the most potential, um, he's very smart, he could make those passes. I mean, he had 0 interceptions. Yeah, it could be the competition, but is that he rated pretty well. So again, he didn't get to play as much. So that's what I'm saying. Snap wise, it's going to be repetition. It is a risk, but you make that trade to go all the way up because Mac Jones, before making that trade, I saw some of the big boards that he could fall all the way down to 22. So why would you trade all the way up, knowing that you could still probably get your guy if it was Mac Jones all this time, unless you were trying to secure to make sure you got one of the 3 quarterbacks that is not in the top 2. So I just feel like if you're going to mortgage something and take that risk, I feel like you would take it with someone with the most upside. And that's because it's kind of, and I think they put that possibility of Mac Jones just to soften the blow if that was a surprise pick and just to see how the reaction is. I think that's why a lot of people are like, oh, maybe he's being truthful, or Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. So saying, oh, maybe he's going to actually go with Mac Jones this whole time. I mean, I could see why the media and everybody's saying it could be Mac Jones. But I'm going to put my guess and educated guess, like I said, as a fan and seeing that, because you got Aaron Donald in your division, and the Seattle defense is going to get better. You got Arizona. They're probably going to draft some defensive players, and then you have J.J. Watt there. I know he's older, but you got to deal with you got 2 mobile quarterbacks there. Stafford's there too. So it's a tough division, and you need to get athletic. You have to have that possibility of running when the defense is coming after you. So I think I feel like Trey Lance has the most upside, which would make sense to trade all the way up. Will I be very disappointed and upset if it's Mac Jones? Time will tell. I'll be honest, because that's where, like I said, it could be the scenario of where you're the Bears and you drafted Mitchell Trubisky, and this is where it could cost your job, because look at Matt Nagy and their GM that they lost their job. So, who else? Where else I go from there? Yeah, so I could see again Kyle Shanahan getting another job, but I don't see John Lynch, if he doesn't survive this one, making this right call. And I think that's why he's saying we should make. That's probably why there's some indecision leading up to the day of the draft. So I'm going to go again. Now Trey Lance would be my 3rd quarterback off the board. All right. I think the 4th pick is going to be interesting too, because I don't know if Atlanta's going to stay there or not. But I think Justin Fields would be interesting because he played University of Georgia too. So I don't know if they would want him. But he could sit for a year. I could see that. So we did a mock draft, and you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I know this might not be popular, but I've heard next year's quarterback class is not going to be as good as this one. So I would say maybe they could draft Justin Fields at number 4 with Atlanta, or they're going to get Pitts, or unless someone's going to trade up. Um, so I'm going to go with Justin Fields at number 4. That's what I put down with Atlanta Falcons. Again, I might be wrong. I'm just going based on educated guess. Some tides and some people I've heard on the radio and television on the media. So then the 5th quarterback, Mac Jones left. I think he could slide. I've only heard 2 teams that really loved him, that would love to have him, was the Niners and also the Patriots. I think the Patriots would get their quarterback because I've even, like I said, I've heard Mac Jones compared to Tom Brady, like a cheap knockoff of Tom Brady, like so, or poor man's comparison of Tom Brady. There's no other Tom Brady. I'm sorry, folks. Come on, he's a 6th rounder. You're not going to find anyone like Tom Brady ever again. I could guarantee that, because the amount of Super Bowls he won and everything. So I'm going to say Mac Jones is going to fall to the Patriots. I believe the Patriots in the 15th slot, so they don't have to trade up because all the teams ahead of them already have a quarterback. The only one I would have thought that Mac Jones could have gone to potentially was with because Carolina, they have Sam Darnold. So if they're going to give him, after making that trade, and they gave up more draft picks than the Broncos, probably going to pick up the 5th-year option and give him 1 or 2 years to see if they can figure it out with him. Broncos got Teddy Bridgewater, so with Drew Lock, so those 2 could compete. I could see they could continue building. And again, I don't think it's a huge upgrade for the Broncos at this point if they got Mac Jones. So then you have the Cowboys. They already have a quarterback. Giants already have their quarterback. So then you have the Vikings, but they have Kirk Cousins. And that's where the Patriots, they could take Mac Jones, and they loved him. So he could slide all the way down there if the Niners don't take him. So I could see that happening. And the other 2 stories I'm interested is the Bengals at number 5, because they have that Penei Sewell, from Oregon, to help protect Joe Burrow, or Jamar Chase with Burrow. They have that connection. But I've heard the Chargers would really love to have Sewell reunite with Herbert. And then also you have Tua might be reunited with Devontae Smith or Waddle. So there's a lot of relationships, potential being reunited, old teammates. So that's pretty cool, I think. Especially, I think that will help jumpstart any franchise, because you don't have to build that relationship again. You know their tendency, and being able to know that personality to be able to build that team together, so, and grow as teammates still. So I think those 3 potential storylines, if they get reunited, that would be awesome, or make great theater there. So I think there's going to be a great interest, even though I'm, like I said, I'm a Niners fan. Especially we're in the middle of this, pretty much, like I said, the draft is going to start, I think, at the 3rd pick. Because I'm not completely sold on Mac Jones. But that's where I'm thinking you don't want that mistake, and being like the Chicago Bears, where you drafted the Mitchell Trubisky. I know it's not the same comparison, but if the other 2, like Fields and Trey Lance, turns out to be like great quarterbacks, like Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes, then Niners fans are going to be very upset that, like, what if? So that's where I'm kind of going with those 5 quarterbacks. Quick recap again: Trevor Lawrence 1, 2, Zach Wilson, 3 is going, I think, Trey Lance, 4 Justin Fields, Atlanta, and then the 15th pick, the Patriots, with Mac Jones. So I gave you that stat. 40% usually it's bust if you're in the first round usually, or high picks for quarterbacks. So I think Trevor Lawrence should be okay. Um, I think whoever the Niners pick, which like I said, uh, Trey Lance will be fine. I think even if Mac Jones makes it to the Patriots, I think he'll be fine. As like I said, now Hall of Fame superstar, like at least serviceable around 10 plus years. These three quarterbacks. The bus that will not, be, and especially like I said, Mac Jones of slide, so there's less pressure for him. Now I think the ones that will bust, that's supposed to be hit like that Hall of Fame superstar, it's going to be Zach Wilson. I think because he's going to the Jets, he's going to be a bust because of the organization. Look at Sam Darnold. They haven't had any good quarterbacks for a long time. Then I think the other quarterback that's going to be bust is Justin Fields with Atlanta. So if he does go to Atlanta, so either way, I think those two quarterbacks are going to be most likely busts for sure. Now, if it is Mac Jones to the Niners, I don't think that's kind of tricky. I think he'll have some success, but say Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch was eventually let go and he's there, then yeah, I think he'll not live up to the expectations compared to the other quarterbacks. I got a feeling just Trey Lance, if he's in the right situation and the right OC and head coach, I think he could be a great quarterback too, based on some potentials and what the scouts were saying. So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys looking forward to the draft? Who you think your team will get? And is this the most intriguing draft you think will be? It is one of the most heavy quarterback and offense draft. So if you like offense, you'll definitely like to tune in. But definitely going to be tuning in tomorrow for the first round, from beginning to end tomorrow. Definitely looking forward to the draft. Even if the Niners were at the 12th pick, I would have watched it. There was years that the Niners didn't have certain picks or high picks either. I still watched it because there's always something interesting and get to see who's right and all. So definitely looking forward to tomorrow's draft. Let me know again. What are you looking forward to tomorrow's draft? Do you guys have like draft parties and stuff like that? Yeah, definitely let me know. Put your comment in there. Predictions, definitely put your predictions for the top 5 quarterbacks, where they might be going. But thanks again if you stick through this whole video. But definitely appreciate all the supporters and viewers. And then if you haven't subscribed to our channel, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And then also hit that thumbs up button. And I do appreciate you guys watching again. And we'll see what happens to tomorrow's draft. And again, together we can build better tomorrow. Thanks.